September the 5th, 2025. Guys, you're looking at an image of Atlas 3I. Now, this came out a couple days ago, and they were starting to report on different media outlets that it was starting to grow a tail. So I got the image and did some refining on it to look deeper, look closer at it. And they were saying, again, this is the image of Atlas. I'm not saying it's a comet. But this streak right here, it looked a little different on the, as you backed out. But what it is a background streak. It's not part of Atlas itself. These streaks that you see on both sides, as they're following the object, these are stars in the background because they're streaking because of the exposure, right? But the comet stays still. If you were to just leave it, you would see a streak in the comet and the stars would be still. That's how that works. But anyway, this is what they're saying. But this, again, is a background streak. It's not a tail. And I've kind of looked at it a couple of different angles or different filters. And regardless of what I do, I'm seeing the same thing. Pretty obvious it's not part of Atlas itself. Now, what's important is we have a couple things going on. You got one side of the scientists saying that it's not a comet, and the other side of mainstream scientists are dead bent on proving it is a comet. I'm going to point that out. Now, why would that be? Why are they so intent on proving that it's something that it probably isn't? Is it to hide the fact that it's something else? I don't know. But it's going to be surprising events coming through because we're going to see it up until around into October, late October and all. It's going to be brightest around the Halloween or closest approach to the sun before it goes behind it. Now, it's going to be back behind the sun where we won't have much chance of getting any pictures until it reemerges in December. And that would, as it comes around. So the Earth will be blinded, and that's what they talked about for about a month or so there, not seeing what's going on the other side of the sun with this object. Now, again, they were hell-bent on looking into the first images, like we're seeing now, of what they called a tail. So they went full steam ahead, and I'll show you what they did. So you're looking at what's called Gemini South. It's down in Chile, and it's part of a two system setup. Gemini North is on the island of Hawaii, and you can tell it that they look very similar, and these things are huge. This has a 25.5-foot mirror in it. Down here is where your 18-wheelers put up, and there's some doors where they can back up to. Of course, it's solar powered. And a secondary observatory here. And we see that in a lot of places, even with the Lucifer telescope. You've got one down the hill, and you could use it for comparisons, I'm not sure, or to look at different objects. Anyway, this is Chile. A lot of times you got snow at this elevation, but so they tied into the computer. Scientists from around the world tied into Gemini South. Now, they're saying in December when it comes around, the sun, that Gemini North may start picking up some pictures out of Hawaii, or maybe a little before it goes behind. We'll just have to wait and see how this thing's going. But again, they got tied in with the computers here, and so what I want to do is show you what they were looking at, and I'll link you to the entire video. It's kind of long and drawn out if you want to, and I kind of segmented it down and to what I thought were the important parts instead of dragging you out through a 2-hour video. Let's take a look at some of those computer printouts and images. Now, this is one of the computer screens there in Chile, and it was being viewed by different people, just like you can with CERN. And the band that they were concentrating on were between the black bars. See that? And the darker section is the very center of it, and right there is the object Atlas. Now, over here is one of the models that shows the coma around it, things like that. But if it was a tail on it, that one of the sides of this would be extended way out. Now, it's going to the right, and the only extension out is slightly to the right because the light source is going that way, not out the back. Very interesting. And you can go in here, and again, I'll link you to the video, and Tina has it also on the website. But this will give you information, the zoom, all of that. And as they got closer and closer, it became more apparent. And the guy that actually took the pictures and was the first one to come out and say it now is starting to have a tail, so it has to be a comet. He was one of the people watching this and talking with the people that were running the computer programs, okay? So he was there, and he was really wanting to find that tail so he wouldn't be proved wrong. What he should have done was look at his first images a lot quicker, a lot deeper, and not jump so quickly to a conclusion, because it was pretty obvious that was not a tail. But anyway, this is at a faraway zoom, and they're going to zoom it in. Let me say this before I do, though, before I forget. Again, this is the center. These are the black lines that are in where the computer's focusing everything. And as they're moving it around, you'll see it actually split, again, the object atlas over one of these lines, and I'll show you that. But so when we get there, you'll know what I'm talking about. Now, they kept zooming it in, and as they did, they would have to move it left and right to make up. There was slight movement. It was live images, but they had to make up to get the computer part of the telescope right in the right place. And that's what this distorted area is. This is one side of the line. You can really tell it in the color images as they zoom up. But notice, still no tail down here. And the guy that had brought all this up, he was kind of starting to sound a little desperate right at this point. Now, using their image, and this is their zoom, again, the green line is that focus line to the left, and you can see it's a little scattered here. But this is all they were getting, is this ball, round object here at that distance. And the Gemini is very powerful. It may be the largest mirror on the planet. I'm not sure. You guys can look it up, but it's, I think, 25.5 feet or something like that. And so they were getting pretty good views of it, but it's up in the elevation, 7,000 or 8,000 feet, right in there. And so you have less atmospheric distortion. You still do not get the images that you do from the Hubble, which is above Earth, or the Swift telescope, guys, or excuse me, James Webb telescope. Now, I took that image with a split in it and zoomed in just a hair, but I took out any distortion that I could find. And of course, there's a lot more on the left side of that focus line, but there's no tail. This thing is starting to look like a ball of energy. And they're saying the light's being projected out to the front, but a couple of my close-up images, it almost seems like there's something, either it's emissions in the back coming out blocking the view of the rear or something. I'm not sure what it is. You've seen those, though. But again, the object is supposedly moving to the right like this. Now, no tail at all. Now, as they realized they could not find a tail, what they started doing was he was communicating with the operators, and he was saying, let's look at the infrared bands from blue scale spectrum up to the red scale spectrum and see what we see in the infrared, because there was no visible tail. And there's not a tail there, but they are seeing some type of streak. And this is going out both sides of the object atlas. You can't see it with a naked eye, but when they got very close, I think this line is red, but I think this is the upper level, and both lines are red. And I think the actual red spectrum is to the left, blue spectrum to the right. But it's nothing visible there. It's almost like a projected path or an ion field. I'm not sure, but it's almost like the forward path is already projected into this thing. Is it an energy field projecting out from it? I don't know. But I want to look at a couple more of my close-ups, and let's see what we get. Now, as we look at this, before I get to the close-ups, I almost forgot this. This is a computer printout of the last image we saw, basically the round ball. And the Nair image inside of it is, again, everything's moving to the right here. is the smaller tip. You see that right there? But this is they're saying it's a coma, or the glow. And by the way, guys, they're saying that the center of it is not 7 miles, but 12 miles wide. Whatever the center is, but that's what they're saying the computer's telling them. Now, this is a Hubble image, guys, and I took everything out of it as far as distortion. I didn't cut anything. I just changed the levels to where you could see certain aspects of the object. And what it is, again, no tail. The light emission is from the front. Again, the back side of it appears to be darkened. And I don't know if that's emissions. Remember, it is emitting what they call a nickel, maybe a nickel ion, and it should be nickel and iron if it's a comet. But again, this thing, it's moving fast. It's for an interstellar object. I've seen comets move faster, but it seems to be a very centralized object. I don't know if it's how energetic it is. Is it a ball of energy, or is it a force field around a few different objects, like some of our other images have indicated? I don't know, but I did notice that yesterday and the day before they started coming out with it is growing a tail. And guys, it is not. Now, I don't think it's in any danger to our planet as far as any type of impact or anything like that. What it's going to do on the backside of the sun, we don't know. And again, as it comes out in December, we should be getting better images from both Hubble, James Webb, and the Gemini North in Hawaii itself, up in the mountains there where the volcanoes are. But that's going to be interesting to see. Now, with it's very close ecliptic to the ecliptic of all the planets in the inner solar system. That's been a talking point. And another point has been the fact that it will be hidden behind the sun from the Earth. In other words, as it gets around the sun, the Earth is going to be on the opposite side of the sun. You've seen that in some of the JPL models, right? Well, in the back of my mind, I keep this little tiny voice, and I hope I'm wrong. I keep hearing the fourth angel pouring out something on the sun and men being scorched. And I hope I'm wrong, probably am, but I just want to say that. We don't know, we're not going to see a winged being flying around in space out there pouring out something on the sun. That's not how that's going to happen. And this may not be either. But it just makes me wonder. But this little nugget here, again, the center of the activity is 12 miles wide. And again, they've been saying 7, that's about the length of Manhattan Island, not the width. 7 miles is about the length of it. Then you get on up to the northern sections. But 12 miles goes much further than that. It's a very huge object. I don't know what it is, guys, but I don't think it's a comet. It's getting closer and closer, and there is no tail. But we're watching it. You watch it. It's a heads up. Be safe.